Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our monthly State of the Business here at the Terraces of Los Gatos. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay, perfect. It's great to see everybody. It's good to see everyone here in person. It is also great to have all of you that are joining us remotely from home through Zoom or through your televisions on TLG TV, whether you're joining us here in person or you're joining us remotely. Welcome. We are glad you're here. It's good to be here with everybody. If we have any new residents or team members or family members that are joining us for the first time, we are especially glad that you're here, and we thank you for taking the time to be with us today. And we hope that you feel welcome, and we hope you know that we appreciate you very much. You are all always welcome to join us on the first Thursday of each month for our State of the Business meeting here in the GRA. Hopefully, if things keep moving in the same direction, we will continue to meet here in person forever. But we also will continue to make sure that those that would prefer or be more comfortable to join us remotely are able to do so through TLG Connect and through TLG TV. We have a number of advisory board members that are with us here today, some that are joining us remotely and some that are joining us here in person. And in just a moment, we will ask those advisory board members that are here with us in person to stand so that we can recognize you. But before we do that, I'd actually just like to share a little bit about the Community Advisory Board and the important role that they play here at the Terraces of Los Gatos. So each community within the Human Good organization may have, most do, but not all do, have a community advisory board. The advisory boards are separate from the corporate governing boards, and they were created to support the community's residents and support the executive director, to support the team members, and also support the Human Good corporate governing boards as well. The board members are active members of the greater Los Gatos community, and some of them are members of the actual residents of the Terraces of Los Gatos. And they assist our community with their knowledge, with their various areas of expertise, local contacts. Some have wonderful marketing skills, and they're always great advocates of the Terraces of advocates for the Terraces of Los Gatos. They're ambassadors of the Terraces of Los Gatos as well as Human Good. Pam Bancroft is currently our Community Advisory Board Chair. And I don't see Pam with us in person, but all of the advisory board members that are with us here, if you wouldn't mind standing so that we can recognize you. Thank you very much for all that you do. I don't always like to admit it, but some of you know that I have a little bit of a competitive side to me. And I've been known to be competing in competitions with others when those others don't always know we're actually competing in a competition. And I am confident to say that the Terraces of Los Gatos is consistently winning the competition with all the other Human Good communities for best community advisory board. it has become a little bit of a tradition here at the Terraces to have one of our advisory board members take a few minutes and give us the opportunity to get to know them a little bit better here at the State of the Business meeting. So we'd like to now invite one of our advisory board members and TLG residents, Sharon Roth, to come up. And Sharon is going to take a few minutes to tell us a little bit about herself. So Sharon, after you.
I have a book. Okay, thank you. Can you hear me all right? I am on the advisory board as an alternate to Declan Brown, who represents the Human Good Board of Directors. I'm also your elected Northern California obligated group representative to the Human Good Board. I was a president of the Residents Council right here at TLG, and I'm still on many committees within this community. I'm the secretary of the Auxiliary Committee and the interim chair of the Social Committee. I've been on the board of directors of the mental health, or what's now known as the behavioral health boards and commissions of Santa Clara and San Mateo counties. I was also a president or vice president of both those NAMIs in both those counties, and a past president of the California CIT Association. CIT stands for Crisis Intervention Training of Law Enforcement Officers. I was very active when there was a State Department of Mental Health in Sacramento, and I've always been a very strong advocate to get better mental health services available in a more timely manner. I understand the problems facing those with addiction and mental illness, and also of their families. I have facilitated support groups in this area over many years and was instrumental in bringing CIT to San Jose in 1997, and also for helping it spread throughout the state of California. Presently, I still teach clinical nursing at Samuel Merritt University, and I'm still on many of the TLG committees. You can also see me as one of the very badly needed clerks in Notions and Needs. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Roth. We appreciate that report, and more importantly, we appreciate all that you have done for the Terraces of Los Gatos and for the greater community, and all that you continue to do as a very active resident and advisory board member. Don't get too comfortable, because we're going to actually have you come back up in just a second. Because now we would actually like to take a few moments to recognize one of the very many very active committees of residents here at the Terraces of Los Gatos. The committee that we are going to hear from and spotlight today is the TLG Connect Residents Committee. So if the members of that committee wouldn't mind coming up, we'd love to have you introduce yourselves, and Bob Strain is going to give us a little bit of an overview of what the committee does and the important work that they do here at the community.
Okay, what? I'm going to talk. There. So communication is important, and that's why I really like the main dining room. when I moved into the terraces 4.5 years ago, we had lots of paper in our mailboxes, and we had 2 electronic communications platforms. Not making it? Okay, thank you. One was TLG Info, and the other was the TLG Forum. These platforms were pioneered by Kendrick Smith, who's probably down in the game room at happy hour, and Fred Lewis, who's there he is. The TLGinfo.com was essentially an electronic way of distributing documents. And it was very handy, but it fell far short of what people can do over the internet. So members of the resident council started asking for something better. We even created an objective specification saying what we thought was needed by us. That's the residents of Los Gatos, Terraces for Los Gatos. In lieu of the system in the spec, Human Good contracted with Cubigo, a Belgian company, to install their system. Locally, we call it TLG Connect. Clearly a much richer, more interactive system than TLG Info. But over its early operating period, many of us felt that it was falling short. So 2 years ago, the Resident Council commissioned a committee, the TLG Connect Residents Committee. And a key word in there is residents. The committee has the challenge of making the Cubigo developed TLG system serve our needs as well as it can. And the committee consists of real residents. Look, you can see these people are real. There's Mickey, Mickey Friedland, Jim Dietrich, probably out there in the mist somewhere. Jim, if you're on Zoom, hello. Sharon Roth, who I'm going alphabetically. So Fred Lewis, whom I mentioned, Sharon Roth, who you've just met, and Linda Sampson. Well, and me. So each of us brings a different point of view, but we're intent on making this communication tool both friendly and useful. So what have we done? We have, based on Fred's deep web experience, implemented a better way of organizing the documents, like the residence reg and weekly updates. We expect in April a change that will make the news channel a bit less chaotic and a bit less labor intensive for the content managers like Kendall Bonney back there. We're trying to act as a link by which your complaints about the system can be transformed into fixes. In terms of fixes, we've discovered in our 2 years of business that software fixes done in Belgium are slow. The chaos of the news channel was highlighted to Cubigo in July of 2020. And we are still expecting a software change to occur in April of this year. In some defense of Cubigo, they've created a lot of support for managing visitors under pandemic conditions during this interval. Still, it looks to us like it should have been a simple fix. The committee has identified some genuine bugs, and they've been addressed fairly quickly. The fastest fixes are those that we can do right here in Los Gatos. As I mentioned, Fred has created a rational way of managing committee records, and that's been implemented here and extended into the information cube. Belgium has treated this problem as monumental, so please send money. Kendall Bonney has personally improved searching in the team member directory, and that was also fast. Linda Sampson, there she is, has extended the concept of residents improving the Cubigo system to a committee that spans all the Human Good Life Plan communities. Everyone needs a little bit more knowledge about the system and its quirks. Looking forward, this committee is supporting better training, quicker answers to individual problems, and responding to your needs. We're also intent on getting improved software for both dining and table reservations. That's a fairly steep mountain. So let me say that the entire committee wants to make the system better for residents, and that means everyone listening. So please let any one of us know what your problems are. Now, as a postscript, I perceive that our executive director is genuinely interested in better communication, and TLG Connect is one of the relevant channels. Bradley, the floor is yours again. Thanks to all of you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you so much for that report. And again, more importantly, for all of the great work that you do. It's as you were sharing that report, I was thinking about the ways that the implementation of TLG Connect here at the community has been an absolute lifesaver in so many ways over the course of the last 2 years. And it never would have happened were it not for those of you on this committee that helped drive the process to make that happen. And not only has it made an impact, a significant impact here at the terraces, but all human good communities have either adopted or soon will adopt the same platform, which gives us a lot more leverage working with our partners at Cubigo, and also gives us a lot more support on the corporate side. And even now, as you mentioned, Mr. Strain, we now have a resident committee that spans across all of the human good communities to help support those efforts to improve the platform and the benefit that it brings to the residents across all of the human good communities. So again, thank you very, very much. All right. So before we move on to the next portion of our meeting, I'd actually just like to take a moment to acknowledge two new team members that are with us from our leadership team, Matt Heyman and Charmin Verador. Matt is our interim director of dining services. Matt's home is in Cedar City, Utah. And we appreciate him traveling back and forth between home and Los Gatos as we continue our search for our permanent director of dining services, the position that was recently vacated by Jerry Austin. Matt is in the back. Matt, if you wouldn't mind just waving so everyone can see you. Thank you, Matt, for being here. And Charmaine. Charmaine has joined our team as our Director of Wellness and Assisted Living. In this role, Charmaine is replacing the position recently vacated by Agnes Toribio with a slight modification to the position. Under Charmaine's leadership, we are bringing the assisted living, memory support, and wellness departments all together under one umbrella, which will help improve efficiency with a more effective collaboration between these three departments that are so closely integrated with each other already. Charmaine, for those of you who remember, which is probably most of you, but maybe not all, Los Gatos Meadows, which was a continuing care retirement community here in town, that unfortunately had to close a few years ago due to some structural issues, amongst other things. But Charmaine worked at the Los Gatos Meadows in a similar position for many years. And we are so incredibly fortunate that Charmaine has joined our team. Charmaine, we are glad that you are here. If you wouldn't mind standing and waving so that we can all see you as well. Thank you, Charmaine, and thank you, Matt. Next, we'll hear reports from a few other community leadership team members. First, we'll hear from Linda Price, our Director of Sales and Marketing. After that, we'll hear from Christy McKinney, our Director of Human Resources, and then Vincent Foresta, our Director of Buildings and Grounds, will give us a report. After we hear from the three of them, I will share a few more items, a couple of other updates, and then we will actually conclude with a video that was created by Human Good to reflect back on our organizational experience over the past year. So we will now pass the time over to Linda.
Good afternoon, everyone. I cannot believe we were already in March of the new year. So I'll just start quickly with an occupancy update as usual. In independent living, we are currently occupied 170 apartments out of 175, meaning that we have 5 apartments that are under renovations. Out of those 5, 4 are reserved and sold. One, we are still showing to a wait list. And in fact, I think Jana is taking a deposit on that 5th one as we speak. So we can count on that really being 5 reserved and sold. We didn't have any move-ins in January. That's usually par for the course because we usually end our calendar year so strong. So January was a little quiet, and then we usually ramp up, hitting full speed around March. So for the month of February, we had 1 move-in. I do not see that new resident here, but if you would help me welcome Helen Cockrum, who is in L137, who moved in on February the 11th. For March, we have 2 move-ins. One will move in tomorrow. That is Mr. Run Han Wang, who will be moving into P391. And then Lynn and Dick Doms will be moving into P290 on March 22nd. So please keep those residents in mind. Thank you to our ambassadors and the welcoming committee and all of you for giving all our new residents a warm welcome. So be looking for those folks. Out of the ones that are reserved and sold, we don't have specific dates, but based on renovation schedules, we're anticipating 2 move-ins in April and 1 in May. So that would be it for independent living. Assisted living, we're occupied at 42 apartments out of 45. And in memory support, we are occupied 14 apartments out of 16. And just please know, we're not selling that much to the outside community at this time while we can. Per your contracts, we just always want to emphasize that our contract residents, being you, have first priority to those higher levels of care for you or your loved ones if you need them. You just have priority to that, and that is part of your contract. So we never want to sell those to the outside until we make sure that you and your families are taken care of. So sometimes those are a little slower to fill, and that's intentional. And lastly, I just have 2 updates. Many of you have dropped by our office looking for a notary. Ronnie Santos used to be our notary, but he has, I think, given that up. Jana Burtis, our sales counselor, has been a notary for some time, and you all have used her services. It was lapsing. She had to take the course, and we've been waiting on her to get her new stamp and her results. She now has that. So I think it will be in the resident update letter this week. But I would ask, while we know some situations, happen suddenly, or you might have a family member that just drops by and you need something notarized quickly, we will always try to accommodate that. But still keep in mind too that she has a lot of appointments and clients and meetings, other things going on. So when possible, we would certainly ask that you please either email her or call her and make an appointment if you can. And lastly, some of you may have heard that we are going to have a photo shoot here on campus. The last one that we had was in 2014. I was here at that time, and it was a lot of fun. But we're in dire need of updated photos of a lot of the renovations and the work that we've done, just new improvements. We're real excited about that. It had been previously scheduled tentatively for April is what we were shooting for. But myself, Bradley, and Vincent had our kickoff meeting with some of the people at the Community Support Center this week. And due to the brainstorming that we did and suggestions and the planning, We have decided to push that out till June, primarily because we want the campus to show better and well, and that's when more of the blooms will be in, is what we've all come to determine. So some of you have been asked to participate in a couple of things already, and there will be a lot more residents needed. So we might be reaching out to you, but it was a lot of fun. So anyway, that is upcoming, and we're looking forward to that. And we'll be using all those photos of the dining room and resident activities and, you know, the pool and the apartments and the fitness center, all those things for our new sales collateral. So I think that's it for me. So if anyone doesn't have any questions, I will turn it back over to Bradley or Christy.
Go down a little bit after Linda. Well, happy March, everyone. And I see that we're getting a little bit of rain. So thank you for those that did the rain dance. Appreciate that. We need every little bit we can. So I wanted to report on our recruitment efforts, how we are doing here at the Terraces in terms of our team members. So since we met last, we've hired 3 new team members. We have 1 new health center RN charge nurse. Her name is Star. We have 1 new resident assistant in the lodge. Her name is Ma Asuncion. She and Star are both working full-time. And then you were able to meet Charmaine, who had started on the 23rd. So 3 new team members. We have also 3 team members in our onboarding process. So that means they have accepted an offer and they're in the process of going through the fingerprinting and the physicals, the TBs, all the background checks that we do. So a concierge, part-time concierge that will be working with Sandy and her team. A resident assistant in memory care. Her name is Osiris, and she's actually a returning team member. So she was happy to come back, and we were happy to welcome her back to the team. And then lastly, a wellness nurse that's part-time. Her name is Olga, and she'll be working in the wellness department. We've had 4 interviews. 3 of those actually were dropping in. So we were so excited. People are starting to actually physically come to the community. So we have 2 housekeepers. They're both sisters. So Diana Ontiveros met with them on Wednesday. We have one that was taking place today, a CNA that just graduated, and she's actually looking to see which level of care would be the most interested. So she met with all the department heads of those areas. And then we had an LVN for the health center scheduled today as well. So we have full-time openings in all of our positions except for Sandy's department and resident services, but at least 1 full-time position. I know I report that each month. I also would like to honor all of our team member anniversaries for the month of March. So we have 17 team members celebrating. We have 9 team members that have worked between 1 and 5 years. We have 3 team members from 6 to 10 years. We have 3 from 11 to 15 years. In fact, Vincent Foresta will be celebrating his 15th year. So that's a long time. So congratulations to Vincent. And we have 2 team members that have worked over 20 years. So Zenko, if any of you have ever been to the health center before, Zenko's one of our knock shift. He works overnight. He's celebrating 21 years. And Martina Alvarez, which is our tray line lead, is actually celebrating 25 years. So a lot of longevity here. So I just want to be able to honor all of those folks. And that is the report for the HR department. We're just always actively recruiting new team members, and very excited and hoping that we can start doing a lot more in-person appreciation days for our team members like we've done in the past. So looking forward to the future. Thank you. Mrs. Sampson. So, yes. So it is dependent most of the time on the team members' availability. So if we are trying to hire somebody that has a job elsewhere, sometimes it can be a little difficult for them to be able to come to the community and to the other places If people have a completely free schedule, we've hired somebody in a week where they've been able to complete everything. It just depends really on what their availability is. We did have some gaps and length of time was going a little longer with COVID because a lot of the state departments, county departments were also affected by COVID. So that caused a gap there. But it can happen in a week, but typically it's about 2 weeks or so. And then sometimes people will want to wait until everything's cleared and then they want to give notice where they're at just to make sure everything is okay. So sometimes there's a couple of variables that go along with it. So, but thank you. That's a good question. All right, thank you. I guess Vincent.
Wow, 15 years, huh? Time certainly does fly by. It's been a pleasure working here, serving all of you. Updates from buildings and grounds. I really just have one important update for everyone for the month of March. On March 14th through the 18th, once again, we have an annual sprinkler inspection. So we'll need to gain access into each and everyone's home to inspect the sprinklers to make sure nothing's obstructed or damaged. Wazid will be going around with the inspectors, and we will send out a schedule sometime next week, likely in the weekly updates and on TLG Connect for all of you. And then I'd just like to thank everyone for your patience lately with some of the unexpected repairs that we've had to do. From the pool being out of service for a little while and now the Esplanade. Just thank you for your patience while we make these necessary repairs. Any questions? Yes, Linda. Window washing. Oh, we have, yes. Window washing is still definitely something on our schedule to get done for you all this year. We'll need to coordinate and discuss the time. I know that we're still in a drought and that's still of concern to some of you. So we'll plan that accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you, Vincent, and thank you, Christy, and thank you, Linda, for the important work that you all do and the great job that you do. You all play very, very important roles, and we appreciate you all very much. A few other quick announcements, and then we will, let's see, a few quick announcements. We'll open it up for any additional questions, and then as I mentioned, we'll conclude with like a 12, 13-minute video. Tomorrow, we have the privilege to have a visit from Tyler Echian. So Tyler, as many of you know, Tyler is our Vice President of Operations, and he was our previous Executive Director here at the Terraces of Los Gatos. From what people tell me, and from my personal experience, the best executive director that the Terraces of Los Gatos has ever had. No, Tyler's great. And as some of you may know, he and his family actually, they've lived here in Los Gatos forever, but recently, actually not super recently anymore, they moved out of the area. And so Tyler and his family actually live in Tennessee now, but he continues in his role as Vice President of Operations. So he's going to be here tomorrow morning. So if some of you see Tyler, make sure to help him feel welcome, as I know he's really looking forward to being back at the community since it's been a while. Also tomorrow, we are kicking off a month-long March Over Miles walkathon. All residents are welcome to join us tomorrow here in the GRA. We had originally planned outside, but not sure what's going to happen with the weather tomorrow morning. So we've shifted everything in the morning to here in the GRA. Please come and join us between 10 o'clock and noon for some delicious and healthy parfaits. And live music, I believe, and you can learn more about the month-long walkathon that kicks off tomorrow. Also, Bilai, who is one of our drivers, he has been away from the community for, I think, nearly a month now, visiting family and friends in Ethiopia, and he has returned. So we're happy that Bilai is now back with us. Now we're back to having two full-time drivers between Bilai and Victor, who's our lead driver. Also coming up later, Susan. So the question was, now that Bilai is back, does that mean that the shopping trips to the supermarkets will resume? And I believe so. Sandy, our resident services director, unfortunately couldn't be with us today, but I know that has been in the works. So I'm not sure if there's information that'll be in the weekly updates tomorrow. But if it's not tomorrow, I would anticipate we'd have more details by next week. You're welcome. Also coming up later this month, we will have a wonderful St. Patrick's Day celebration on Thursday, March 27th from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. We'll have drinks, desserts, and live music. 17th. That's what I said, the 17th. No, I said the 17th. I know it. Roll the tape. No, I didn't. I wrote down the 27th. So yes, the 17th. Yeah. Thank you. March 27th, 17th. Let's start over. Also coming up later this month, we'll have a wonderful St. Patrick's Day event on March 17th from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. We ask so that we can plan accordingly that residents RSVP in advance, and you can do that through the Activities Cube on TLG Connect. Search for the event on March 17th from 7 to 9 p.m. You can also sign up or RSVP at the concierge desk, either directly with the concierge or through the kiosk that's located at the concierge desk. So again, March 17th, 7 to 9 p.m. Okay, good. All right, let's see. The campus master plan is moving forward. Our next phase of the campus master plan, as everyone probably knows by now, is a remodel of the Galleria, the surrounding areas around the Galleria, both upstairs and downstairs. We are working with our design partners as well as a strategic planning team here at the community that consists of residents, advisory board members, and team members. We had a first round of drawings that were presented to us by our design partners. We met as a strategic team here locally to review those plans and provided a really lengthy and I think really good list of feedback and questions and areas we wanted them to explore a little bit further. And they have been working on revisions to their first round of drawings that we are anticipating their official response with some revised drawings by the end of this week. So once we get those drawings back, our strategic team will meet again and review what they've presented and provide some more feedback, I'm sure. And we'll go through that process, I'm sure, several times until we get to the next phase, which we'll be working on some more of the specific items regarding the redesign. And at that point, we will be working with more residents to solicit more feedback and suggestions and recommendations. So as we learn more, we'll continue to provide updates. Now, I know that we are all looking forward to continued loosening of COVID-19 related restrictions. I'm sure everyone is aware that there have been some federal and some statewide changes to guidelines specifically about masking requirements. There was a community update letter that went out yesterday, I believe, yesterday, that acknowledged the fact that there have been changes to the universal masking requirements for the general public. But unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess, depending on how you look at it, those changes don't impact us here at the Terraces of Los Gatos. As one of our residents right before this meeting pointed out, they have lumped, and I don't know what to think about this, the state has lumped us, us meaning senior living facilities, long-term care communities, and healthcare facilities in the same category of higher risk settings as jails and prisons. So for whatever that's worth, we're in the same boat as them, at least in terms of masks. So no changes to the masking requirements at this point, but we all know that things are moving in the right direction, and we anticipate some changes, hopefully in the not too distant future. I know that COVID-related precautions, specifically with respect to dining services in the main dining room, is a big area of question at the moment. Next week, the dining services leadership team and I have a scheduled meeting in which we will discuss many items. Two of those items are outside visitors in the main dining room, as well as our reservation process. And specifically, we hope to finalize if and when we're able to welcome outside visitors into the main dining room. And also we plan to finalize when reservations will continue to be required and in what situations reservations will be required, and in what situations reservations will not be required for the main dining room. So we have that meeting scheduled for next week, and I'm looking forward to that. I anticipate coming out of that meeting, we'll have some substantive information to share about changes and timelines for those changes. So we will plan to share kind of a recap of what we discuss and what we plan by the end of next week. Are there any questions that anybody has about anything that we can take? Yes, Mr. Pedersen. So the question is if there are any updates on the dividers, the folding stackable doors that separate what has traditionally been known as the private dining room from the main dining room, and Vincent has an update.
Yes, so the partitions for the private dining room, we've installed the new track system for the partitions, and I've been told the new partitions themselves won't be available for us until June. There's been quite a delay, and I guess with their lead times and materials, everything else, that's the best update they could give me at this time. But if anything changes, I'll be sure to update everyone.
Thank you, Vincent, and thank you, Mr. Pedersen. Good question. Any other questions? All right. Well, to conclude, I'd like to thank all of you for being a part of this community. There are a lot of wonderful things about this community, and a lot of things that have helped me truly fall in love with this community. And the Terraces of Los Gatos is a place that I am truly excited about. I'm excited to come to work every day. I am really excited for how life will be different this year than the past 2 very challenging years. The thing that I'm most proud of and the thing that I love the most about this community is you. It's the people. It's the residents, it's the team members, it's the advisory board members, it's your family members. You all make a significant impact on this community. You make an impact not only on the community as a whole, but you make an impact on my life personally, and I know you impact the lives of all of our team members and all of our other residents. You are what makes this community a community, and I just want to thank you all very much for that. This past year or 2 years now, we have gone through some really challenging times. And as I'm sure all of you have, I have been reflecting back a lot over these past 2 years. And I think that for me at least, and I'm sure for many of you and many of our team members as well, if there's one thing that we've learned through these past 2 years, it's how great this community is. I feel like I've been able to create connections to many of you in ways that I don't think I ever would have had the privilege to have and to make were it not for working through some of these challenging situations. And just wanted to express my appreciation for each of you for that. Now, with that being said, we will enjoy a 12-minute video that hopefully, if all works well, we'll start in just a moment. Thank you all so much. And that concludes the meeting. So after the video, you're all free to go. Thanks for being here. We really appreciate it.
To be safe, that is what I believe human good is all about, and we have stepped up to the plate big time in 2021.
The potential is to see how amazing our team members are and to see them grow.
We have had incredible wins as one team, and it has felt amazing.
I feel like all of us kind of came into our own because of the synergy that we built in 2020 through COVID and how that really amplified into so much goodness in 2021.
It really was a transformational year. And it's one of those years where, as part of that transformation, I think we moved away from looking at COVID as a crisis that needed to be managed like a crisis, and more like just a condition of everyday life. And as I look back on 2021, I think that's what I'm most proud of, is how our team members, our residents, our families, our stakeholders and partners work together to make this a year of real impact, of real positive momentum. Despite all the forces that are pulling us back and pushing us aside, nothing got in the way.
For me, inclusion is really actually very simple. It just means that everyone feels like they belong and they have that strong sense of connection to human good.
So 2022 is going to be a working year where we're going to roll out all of that planning and those goals. By the end of 2023, you're going to see a completely different organization. And it's because of the work we're doing with the Inclusion Council.
So I love the tagline that everybody means everybody at Human Good. When we say everyone, we mean everyone. And so at Human Good, when we talk about inclusion, we're not talking about our team members, we're not talking about our board members, we're not talking about residents, we're talking about the Human Good family. And when we get that work right, we will be a transformational organization, not just for ourselves, but for our field.
We felt like it was really important that our team members were safe and also keeping our residents safe. And we felt like there was no other avenue for us to go down but a vaccine mandate. That takes a lot of courage. Coming to work every day took a lot of courage.
It was a tremendous effort and partnership between these pharmacies that our teams were able to provide these vaccine clinics on site at our communities.
The safety factor, that message that we do care and we're going to take these precautions, resonated. It wasn't a turnoff. It actually made a difference.
So on the one hand, we're facing enormous cost pressures. We're having this enormous weight placed on our shoulders kind of globally with supply chain issues, labor issues, cost of goods, inflation. When you look at the culture that Andy and Annika and the teams have established in finance, and you look at the accomplishments that just that group achieved in the past year, it is truly kind of astonishing.
I'm proud of everything that we accomplished. I'm proud of the courage of our team members. We saw opportunity in a difficult time, and we took advantage of it. It was the things that we didn't know we'd be dealing with and the opportunities that we took advantage of. And the team stepped up and helped us get there.
2021 was a year full of successes. I mean, look at Living Care, you know. We barely knew Living Care in 2020, and now Living Care is part of Human Good. And Living Care is a great organization.
As we share our culture as Human Good and we talk about the impact we make, the courage that we have, the innovations, and we see what other organizations are doing, it helps us fine tune ourselves in order to better serve our residents and our team members.
When the pandemic hit, it kind of forced all of us to change, and it was a good change. We found ourselves kind of being maybe a little bit of an industry disruptor in a positive way.
I think the great adoption of the digital solutions is really transforming the way we do our business. I'm very proud of what the team achieved. On one side, if you look at the IT, we need to build and operate a strong, secure, and scalable technology foundation. So we have built a redundant internet, phone service, UPS protection of the IT equipment, the security enhancement. I think it's a huge progress or achievement. I want to recognize my whole team for doing that.
That is something to boast, on every corner. 70% of our communities achieve that recognition, and that is during a tumultuous year like we had this year. We have incredible leadership and teams and residents and those that we're serving.
I see so much potential for growth in Human Good University, and I think that it's such an important tool for retention, and it's the opportunity to really develop Human Good University in a way that differentiates us, makes us more desirable as an organization.
We continue to grow the bench in the organization. We've brought some solid people on. I can't wait to see the kind of work that they're able to do in the future.
I have been incredibly amazed this past year by the resilience and the passion that our team members showed. We are a better community now than we were in 2019. That's amazing to me that we've done that through all of this difficult time.
I'm excited to say that this year we hired Angela Champlin, an expert in dementia and memory support.
And just so impressed with her energy, enthusiasm, her heart, her vision for what our memory support neighborhoods can be and will be.
We've really built out a strong accounts receivable team. That team is clicking on all cylinders. We got a new leader in Gwen Evangelista, and we're off and running.
I love the Inspire Awards. The Inspire Awards are, I think, my favorite part of the year. We just have the best people in the world, and we are so blessed with the passion that people show up with and bring to their work every single day. To have the opportunity to look across the Human Good family and lift people up who embody everything we stand for and celebrate how they live our brand, how they live the Human Good promise.
We see people who are living our values every day, coming to work with passion, coming to work determined to make sure that other people feel relevant and included. And so to call that out in an awards program like Inspire Me is exciting.
You saw an incline of prospective residents really looking at how COVID affected them and wanting to have a sense of community.
I still believe that a lot of the work we did in 2020 when we stopped selling and we just focused on relationships really helped solidify the trust factor. I think it really made a difference.
Our lead generation this year has been like I had never seen before.
One of the reasons I really love working for this company is there's a progressiveness. We're looking at people as they're just getting started. Where do they want to be? Where do they see themselves in 5 years? Just like you might ask me that or I might ask you that. Our residents are no different, they're just people. It doesn't matter what their ages are. They have goals, they have hopes, they have dreams, they have plans.
One of our big successes in 2021 in the East has been our occupancy numbers, particularly at Spring Mill Point, the Mansion at Rosemont, and Rydal Waters.
We've welcomed 48 new residents to this campus under these circumstances. Amazing. So, serving here and working here over the last year has been challenging, absolutely. But we've chosen to rise above that, and we've done it collectively together.
Seeing all of how people work together in order, the importance of teamwork, and it's just beyond anything. It's been life-changing, and I'm so grateful for that human connection.
I think unprecedented can also describe the resiliency and everything that the team members managed to take care of for the residents, to keep them safe and to keep them comfortable throughout this time.
I was grateful for my fellow team members, that I think we were all going through this collective experience of humanity. I'll always look back at that time, that vulnerable time, and be really grateful for my organization, for the protection that Human Good offered me during that time.
In 2020, we applied for capital magnet funds. In 2021, we learned that we were successful. We were granted $5.25 million, very flexible dollars that we could put into projects where needed, and that turned out to be essential.
I look at our team members, at our residents, at our families, at our stakeholders and business partners, all of whom have worked arm in arm, heart to heart, hand in hand to advance the mission of this organization in ways that truly just leave me speechless.
The reason why I've stayed with Human Good for almost 27 years and why we have such great tenure and such great people in this organization is because we believe in what we do.
One word that would be most important for me as I look back on 2021, the word would be gratitude.
I just am so incredibly awed by our team and everything that everyone's done, and all the way that the residents came together and supported us. It was just inspiring.
I am so thankful to our team members for their perseverance.
Never before have I witnessed the innate sense in all of us to support one another.
I'm so thankful and so grateful to have been here doing all this work.
I want to say thank you to our team members and our residents for being so graceful
We pulled it together, and it's just such a proud moment to look back on.
I am so proud of our team members for coming to work with enthusiasm and passion and commitment every day.
On behalf of the Board of Directors for Human Good, I want to thank the team members.
I would like to thank them for their faith in Human Good.
After everything that we've been through, everyone's smiling.
Folks that showed up did it better and with a more pure heart than I could have ever imagined. So I'm just so thankful for them and all that they gave of themselves in 2021.